Hi guys, Matthew Hussey here. So many emails coming in recently asking us to do something for people in relationships. I know we do singles advice all the time, and I wanted to bring you something today that if you're seeing a guy or if you're in a relationship right now, can really help you make that relationship even more special. So here's the tip for today. It revolves around the idea of arguments. Arguments are often seen as such a negative thing in relationships. And very often people assume that once they start arguing, in some way it's the beginning of the end. Like, oh, we've tarnished the relationship already. Now, I want to debate that point, and I want to bring you in on the debate on that at the end of this video. But secondly, I want to talk about what to do when you get to the point of an argument. Now, let's imagine you're with your guy, you start arguing. Immediately that emotion comes in that says, I need to win this argument. It might be pride, being stubborn. It might be a part of you that feels insecure, like if I don't win, then I'm not in the driving seat. So you try and win the whole thing. I want to make sure that we get to a more mature place than that. And by the way, I've been guilty of this myself. That's why I know this topic so well. When you feel yourself getting into that argument, remember, there's a difference between winning in the argument and winning in the relationship. I want to make sure you win in the relationship because the argument is just the battle, the relationship is the war. So when you're in that argument, there's two words I want you to remember. I understand. Sounds obvious, I know, right? Key to relationships is understanding, but it's true. When you get to that point of an argument, showing that you understand someone is the key. Think about it this way. You might not agree with someone's reaction to a situation, but you can acknowledge where the feeling came from that led to that reaction. You may be over there and there's something you're doing that's making me jealous. So I come over to you and I shout at you. And in that moment, you're annoyed because you don't feel like you should have been shouted at. Now, you can disagree with my reaction to shout at you, but you can understand and acknowledge that there was a feeling that came from. Now, very often when you understand the feeling, that person feels ready to admit they're sorry. We'll deal with what to do when they don't say they're sorry another time. But in this video, I just want to get to that place where our instinct is to try and figure out why that person is feeling a certain way before we go on the attack. Because when we go on the attack, that's when we start doing serious damage to the relationship. Show that you're a team, that you want to help each other, and the quickest and easiest way to do that is to show that you understand them. All right, question of the day. I read an article in the Huffington Post recently that said couples that argue once a week stand a better chance of staying together. I want to know if you agree with that. Can arguments be a good thing? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to read them, and I'm going to reply to them as well. I'll see you soon. All right, let's get Periscope going. A bit nervous about this. No, I'm doing something I've never actually done before, timing-wise, at the same time as letting people watch that live.
It's a cutting-edge moment.
Yeah, it's a dumb moment. Hold on for a minute. My phone just said it's running out of battery, which is amazing timing right now. I'm going to put you on my battery pack while you're on. So hold on, guys. This is Matthew Hussey here with Love Life. I am excited today because we're running a bit of a social experiment. We are going to answer questions that are coming in live from Periscope right now. So if you're not following me on Periscope, you need to go there. It's Matthew Hussey, I think, is my name on Periscope, I assume. But here's what I want. I'm going to get people to ask me questions on Periscope. They can ask me anything they want, and we will answer them. So let's see what happens. If this is a mess, we just won't release this show. So we'll see. All right, get ready. What are some interesting questions to ask a guy you first met? From Someone Rocks, I just caught that. I always say when you meet a guy for the first time, simply asking them questions about why they do what they do is more important than finding out lots of logic. So you can find out where they live and how many brothers and sisters they have and where they're from, but none of that tells you a lot about a person. However, if you actually talk to them about what they do and then ask them why they do it, or if they like a sport, why is it you like that sport more than other sports? If they say, I like a certain movie, ask them why they really love that movie, then you're going to find out a lot more about them. Okay, let's move on. Guy I'm interested in is in another city. Is it smart to try to get to know him?
Be careful. If you really, really like him, that's fine. By all means, pursue it, but don't convince yourself you like them more just because they're not around. I was in a relationship for years with someone who was in a different country, and then when finally she said, all right, I'm going to move to your country, we broke up in 2 weeks. That was because I don't think I really had a concept of how great she was until I spoke until I got to live with her in person. So you have to be really careful. What's better, hard tacos or soft tacos? Soft, any day of the week. Hard tacos just are messy and get everywhere. What else? I'm in a relationship, but the sex is not good. What would you do? Obviously, it's important for me. It's really important for me too. If the sex wasn't good, I would be out because I wouldn't want to have sex with someone for the rest of my life that wasn't good. But you can ask yourself, could they be better? Will they be better? Are they trying to improve? If they're actually someone who says, I really want to be better at this, I really want to figure out more ways to please you, then there's hope. If they're not even asking that question, then I would get out, and I would get out now. Thoughts on an open relationship? I think they are good if both people want it. If only one person wants it and convinces the other one to want it, then I think that's a can of worms. I think one person is going to get really hurt all the way along that process while the other one is getting their way. Open relationships rely on both people not being territorial, both people being open to other people and feeling like they can have what they want and not hurt the other person. It's very dangerous, however, to have an open relationship with someone who's even marginally territorial. I am more territorial. I don't think I could possibly be in an open relationship. Even if I did want one, I don't think I'd be able to stand it. So I think I would find it extraordinarily difficult. Don't try one with me if we ever have a relationship. Okay, I think that's it. We are going to jump out of this right now. We've got to the 2-minute mark. I'm trying to do 2-minute shows from now on to be more terse, more epigrammatical. But next time we will do more of this. Catch up with me later on Love Life. This is Matthew Hussey. Thank you for joining me on Periscope and the live questions. I will speak to you soon.
I'd let you go to 3.
You let me go to 3. So Periscope, we're still live with you. Wasn't that cool? That was really good. And people are saying we love the long shows, Matt. I know, but it doesn't leave you wanting more, does it? You just get to the end of the long show and then you're like, we've had our Matt Hussey fix for the year. So then you leave. This is my way of teasing. That's what flirting is about, isn't it? It's about teasing. So we're doing a bit of teasing right now. Periscope, thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate all of your questions. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. Today we thought we'd do something a little different. We put the word out on Facebook that we'd answer whatever you wanted to ask, and you came up with all different things. They weren't all about dating, they were about a whole spectrum of subjects. I didn't want to have to say anything that clever this week, so this is what we've resorted to. I also haven't showered. So let's dive right into what's on my laptop. These are some of the questions that people have been asking. Can guys and girls really just be friends? Drink 10 shots of Jack Daniels with the other person, and if neither of you try to have sex with each other, yes. What am I reading right now? I'll tell you. In fact, wait there, Jameson. I'm going to hold this up. Seamless Transition. Thomas Jefferson, The Art of Power by John Meacham. I'm actually really enjoying it. I think that in life you should just learn about things that you don't need to. I think that's what makes one an interesting person, is just to learn diverse things outside their subject. Not really a reason for me to learn about Thomas Jefferson, other than I think he's an interesting character, but it's random learning. What's one habit you're trying to kick right now? Eating junk food while traveling. I travel all the time, and it's really hard when you're in airports to always eat healthy, especially when you've got these dry old salads. Is dating supposed to suck and feel like a pain in the ... Both of those things sound very sexual. I think it's supposed to suck sometimes, yes. Dating should suck sometimes, and that's okay. And if you don't want it to ever suck, don't date anybody ever. Who do you really admire right now? Matthew McConaughey. I know that sounds random, but I actually appreciate the fact that he was in one specific genre of romantic comedies for the first half of his career, and then has just managed to do amazing things in the last couple of years. Lincoln Lawyer, True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club, Mud. Did you see Mud? I didn't see Mud, but I assume it's good because it's part of this new reconnaissance, as they call it. I'm really impressed with this man. I'm impressed with the way he's rebranded himself, and I think it's a lesson to us all that we can rebrand. What newspaper or journal do you read to stay up to date? I read The Week. It gives you little digestible chunks and opinions of everything that's happened in all different media and newspapers. It's a really easy way to catch up on everything and both sides of the argument, lest you be considered someone who only reads one newspaper that fits your worldview and just reinforces it rather than allows you the ability to actually debate against your point. If you could wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you like it to be? Right here. What's the biggest mistake people make in relationships? They think that loving each other will overcome lack of desire as the relationship goes on. You can't just focus on being in love, you've also got to focus on creating desire. And also, they don't watch enough of my videos. That being said, I'll be back with you next Sunday. Be ready for it. It's gonna be big. I mean, maybe. It'll be good. It'll be as good as some of my videos are sometimes. If people watch that and they watch to the end, they're like proper fans. They're true fans because no one else is watching that drivel. No, do you know what we've done? This is the equivalent of like a relationship on a bad day. Like if you're still there at the end of the day, then we're really in love.
Brian?
Hey.
You don't remember me, do you?
No, from Sean's party.
Caitlin.
Ah, the name shame. The moment where you say, you don't remember my name, do you? Now, I know why people do it. They're sort of insecure, they're feeling vulnerable, they want to be remembered, but they're worried that they're not memorable. So they go up to someone and in some passive-aggressive attempt to take power back and put the other person on the back foot, they say, you don't remember me, do you? The problem is, instead of aiding attraction, it becomes a turn-off because the person who says it just comes off as petty and insecure. Instead, this will get you further.
Oh, hey. It's Caitlin. We met at Sean's party, right?
Hey. Yeah, you and your friend took off early. How have you been?
Oh my god, so busy. Work is crazy right now. So much is going on. Super tired and busy.
Yeah, it's busy, yeah. No, it's crazy. All right, yeah, gotta go. Yep, all right. Just give me 2 seconds, James, let me finish this message. Anastasia? Yeah, can I get a coffee, mate? So tired, I cannot keep going without my coffee. The problem with saying I'm so busy is that it says one of two things. Either I don't have anything interesting to say, or I validate myself and feel important based on how busy I am. So quick tip, when someone asks you, how are you, or what have you been up to, instead of trying to sum up the last 3 months of your life in 2 sentences, which is nearly impossible, simply root yourself in the present and talk about something that just happened.
Hey. Yeah, you and your friend took off early. How have you been?
Really good. My friend's still in town and I just took her to her first yoga class.
That's awesome. You look great.
Oh god, no. I look disgusting right now.
Self-deprecating is endearing. It's charming. Self-defecating is when, well, you take somebody else's compliment and you pull down your pants and take a big old poop all over it. It is possible to maintain your humble charm and accept a compliment at the same time.
You look great.
Aw, thank you. You just made my day. Right after yoga isn't always my sexiest.
So, how's your friend liking the city so far?
She's having a really good time. But between us, she's having some issues with her boyfriend right now, so she's not really in a good spot.
Oh.
Hear ye! The secrets of my friends, all told to me in confidence.
The town crier is the person who goes around spreading other people's gossip to the person in front of them, either because they don't know anything else to say or because they think it's actually interesting. The problem is, all it demonstrates is a lack of loyalty. This man might one day want her to be loyal to him, but all he's learning right now is that when she learns things about him, they could just as easily be passed to the next perfect stranger in front of her. Practice restraint and direct your conversation toward positive things, especially when talking about other people, because you, in turn, will appear as an attractive and positive person.
So, how's your friend liking the city so far?
She's loving it. It's so good to have friend time and catch up.
Well, hey, let me...
Know a few things to go out there and do to be proactive. This program gives you exactly that. Check it out for yourself. Send me an email once you've got the program. I cannot wait to hear what you think. And otherwise, as always, I will see you in next week's video. I was recently speaking to a woman who said that she'd been seeing a guy for the better part of a year. The frustration she was having is that they only saw each other every couple of weeks, and even then he would cancel a lot to make plans in a different way. And she always felt like he was the one always canceling, she was the one always making the commitment to see him, and it was always on his terms. So she wanted more quality time with him. Now she was trying to get herself into the right mindset to have a conversation with this guy. So she came to me, but she was so anxious about having the conversation. And she said to me, "You know how it is, Matthew. Everything's all good until you start making waves." I want everyone out there to notice the linguistic shuffle that happens there, where we take what are really our needs and turn them into making waves. Because when that woman says making waves, she's really talking about her needs. Her need for some form of stability, her need to have some kind of regular connection and quality time with the man that she's into and, dare I say, in love with. What's up, guys? Before I continue the video, and yes, I realize I'm interrupting my own video with this message, I just wanted to let you know that the early bird tickets to my final virtual retreat of this year are on sale now, but only until the end of the month. If you're thinking of coming, now's the time, because it's a big discount and there's a couple of extras that we don't normally throw in with the ticket. So I'll leave a link here. And now back to the video. She subjugated her needs to the level of making waves. And this is something that I see people do a lot, especially when they're afraid of losing someone, is suddenly needs turn into inconveniences. Don't ever let that happen to you on the important things in your life. If something's a true need, if it's fundamental to your happiness in a relationship,
Don't let it turn into an inconvenience in your mind. That's you buying into somebody else's frame of reference. The real question she should be asking herself is, do I want to be in a relationship where I have to subjugate my needs? So the big point I want to make to start in this video is watch for that moment in yourself where you demote your needs to an inconvenience. Now, how does she have this conversation? This conversation is giving her a ton of anxiety because she's afraid of the answer she's going to get. And the key with any conversation like this, like any great negotiation, is to make peace with the worst outcome before you even go in. Make sure that you know, yes, this conversation could precipitate the end of this relationship, and I'm going to be okay with that. If I don't make peace with that, then I'm not really going in from a place of power. I'm going in from a place of acquiescing before I've even started, because I'm going in squinting, saying, hey, I really would like more time with you. I really would like more stability in our relationship. I really would like you to value the time we have together and not cancel it just because something else comes up. But if you want to stay the way you are, I'm not going anywhere. You have to go into a difficult conversation saying, I'm prepared for the worst outcome here. See, in the worst outcome interpretation of this, what she would really be thinking is, this man is right for me. But that's the fantasy element if he can't meet her needs. That may prove to be true if he turns around to meet her in this conversation and they're able to have a really productive conversation about how to meet each other more in a place that's tenable, in a place that can make both of them happy. But if he's not willing to do that, then this idea of him being the right person is a fantasy. She's not losing the reality, she's losing the fantasy. So if you ever find yourself in a relationship with somebody where bringing up a fundamental need you have precipitated the end of that relationship, you may find yourself grieving the love you thought you lost, but instead you should be relieved to have lost the reality you had, which was one of suffering and anxiety and constant acquiescence instead of the relationship you really want. By the way, guys, before you go, there are 2 weeks left on the early bird special for the virtual retreat, which is coming up in September, the 24th to the 26th. This is the final virtual retreat of the year. Why, by the way, do we fail to have the difficult conversation in our lives? It's because we're afraid. We're afraid if we have them, we'll lose something we can't live without. And that's because we're afraid that our life as it is right now won't be enough to go back to. It will if we build it. And if we build our confidence to the strongest it's ever been, we can lose anything in life and still be okay. More than okay. Happy. And if we know that we're happy how we are, in who we are, with the confidence we have right now, we can say no to anything that's wrong. We will never settle in our lives. That's what we do on the virtual retreat. It's not about your love life, it's about you and the you that you bring to this life. I hope you join us. This deal is only for the next 2 weeks. I'll leave a link here. If you're even thinking about the virtual retreat, now's the time to do it. I'll see you there.
Hello, this is Love Life, and we have a caller on the line, and her name is Riley. Everybody, Riley, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh God, I'm excited. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited.
Great.
I'm excited to hear your question.
Okay, I'm ready for you. So I'm going on a weekend retreat this weekend, and I just found out a guy that I dated is going to be there, and things didn't end on a really great note, and so I'm just wondering how to handle it gracefully.
Where are you going this weekend?
North Carolina.
What for? What situation has brought you both together?
It's just like a big, we're like mutual friends with a whole bunch of people. It's like just a big weekend retreat.
Is you all belong to the same cult?
Yes.
Got it. So you're all going away somewhere to the same retreat, and he's going to be there. Are you actually going to be in close proximity to him?
He will be, he's invited to everything that I'm invited to. We'll be at all the same things.
Okay, so will you have to talk to him, or will there be lots of other people there?
There will be lots of other people, but I'll probably end up having to talk to him at some point, or seeing, like, I'll see him multiple times while I'm there.
Do you want to talk to him? Do you think secretly you'll be trying to engineer opportunities to talk to him, or you'll actually be going out of your way not to?
I think I'll be right in the middle. I don't think I'll seek him out, but if I see him, I won't run the other direction.
Okay. So what do you think you should do?
My instinct is to just try and avoid him, but I don't want to be so busy trying to avoid him the whole time that I don't have any fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think firstly, you've got to be emotionally fit before you even go.
Okay.
Because when you see him, you don't. People say, "Well, what do I do when I see him?" Actually, the preparation starts before you see him.
Okay.
When is this weekend?
It is. We're leaving in a couple of hours.
You're good. Okay. You should have called me 3 weeks ago.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, okay. So you're leaving in a couple of hours. Here's what I would do. While you're on your way there, make a list of all of the things in your life that give it meaning.
Okay.
All of the things that make your life important to you that have nothing to do with him. It could be friends you're grateful for. It could be family you're grateful for. It could be certain goals that you have this year that you're excited about. Certain places that you're excited to visit. It could be a hobby that you're really enjoying right now, a skill that you're learning that you're really enjoying mastering. Write down all of the things that you're grateful for that are giving your life meaning, and remind yourself of how much there is in your life that has nothing to do with this person. Because the danger, of course, when we see someone that we still maybe have some feelings for, we see someone that hurt us, the proximity to them makes the pain greater, and actually can have the effect of blowing it out of proportion. If you think about it, during a breakup, why is it so useful to spend time and distance away from that person? It's
like less time thinking about them.
Yeah, you're thinking about them less. They're not on your focus. They're not in your focus in the same way. So you don't blow up the pain disproportionately. You actually start finding other places in your life to get meaning from. But if you're not clear on what's giving your life meaning before you see him, when you see him, your brain will trick you into thinking that's the thing that gives your life meaning. And then you'll get hurt in the process. Know when you arrive when you arrive at that retreat, you've got to know that you're armed with all of the great things in your life to begin with. And then when you get there, don't try and play like, I don't care, I'm all cool, I'm fine. You don't need to play games in that way. Just be authentic when you get there. If it's a little awkward and difficult, own that and live it. Even if it means, you might be next to him and admit it and be like, well, this is, I have to say, it's a little difficult being here together. It's okay to say it and shine a light on it, because when you expose those feelings, you actually give less power to them. When you can admit to him, it's kind of tough, isn't it? Being here together, it's kind of strange. When you own it, you give it less power, as opposed to holding it in and doing what other people do, where they walk around like they're amazing all weekend, trying to pretend that everything about their life is unbelievable, and hoping that the other person will be intimidated.
Okay, that was my original plan, so I'm glad I talked
to you. No, you don't. That's too much effort and energy, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, that's too much energy. Just own where your life is right now and remind yourself of all the important things that are going on and all the things you're excited for. And when you're around him, don't be afraid to expose the elephant in the room, which is, okay, it's a little awkward, it's a little strange. That's okay. And you're the one who's honest enough to just, own it and admit it and maybe even smile about it.
All right, I can do that.
Perfect. Riley, thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Call in again sometime, will you?
Sounds good. Have a nice day.
All right, you too. Take care. Big thank you to Riley, and a big thank you to all of you guys listening out there. If you want to call into Love Life and have your question answered, call in at 844-204-6288. That's 844-204-MATT. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a love life issue. It could be anything you want, anything to do with your life, anything to do with your work, your family, your friends, whatever it is, call in
and we'll give it our best go. We'll give it the old college try. I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Do you find yourself in the early stages of dating someone right now and getting increasingly frustrated or even anxious that they're not texting you or calling you as much as you want? And you find yourself wondering, is this person just bad at texting, or are they really just not that into me? In which case, I am going to get hurt here. This is tricky because early on in dating, we don't feel or even have a right to tell someone that they should text us more. If we've only just met someone on an app, or even we've only been on a date with them and they're texting us less than we would like, it's hard to say, hey, I want you to reach out more, because that person might be like, hey, I just met you and you're not such a big part of my life yet. And that's true. At that point, someone doesn't know us that well. We've not become a priority to someone. They have other things going on in their life, I hope. And therefore, we might not be getting as much communication as our ego would like, but it doesn't mean it's the wrong amount of communication we're getting. However, over time, and by that I mean days and weeks, not months, the amount of communication should build. There should be a trajectory to the communication. We should feel like there's momentum building. There is a sense of progress. If we feel no progress, that's a problem. So this is the first thing I want you to think about when you're trying to ascertain whether someone is just not great at certain forms of communication, or whether they just don't like you all that much, is the communication improving? The second thing I want you to think about is the difference between inconsistency and scarcity. If someone is inconsistent with their communication, if one day they send you lots and lots of messages and they're really gushy and they're all over you, and then you don't hear from them for 4 days, that's a problem. That's inconsistency. And inconsistency is often a red flag. It's a sign of something worse. It might be that they're just seeing multiple people and they're juggling you with other people and they're not really invested in this relationship at all. It might be that they've got a kind of novelty-based fast food attitude toward their dating life with you, where when they want something, they're all over you, whether it's attention or validation or sex. But then as soon as they don't want something anymore, they're off to the next thing and they don't want to know you at all. That's a problem. Scarcity is different from inconsistency. Scarcity is when the communication isn't necessarily inconsistent, but you just don't feel like you're getting enough of it. Now, like I said, in the very beginning, that might just be because you're not a priority to someone yet, and that's okay. But as things progress, if there's still a scarcity of communication, you're not getting as much as you would like, then we have to look at, is this because someone doesn't like you? Or is it because they just don't value communication in the way that you do? It's hard to have a conversation about this without someone asking, like, what's the right amount? What's the right amount of texting someone in dating? What's the right amount of calling when they're not with you? And there is no right answer to that. The answer is somewhere between no communication at all and so much communication that you communicate, you have no life. In the middle is just compatibility. How much do you need? How much do they need? And that's where a lot of issues arise. What's frustrating is that a lot of conversations between people around this end up being debates about texting, the value of texting or the value of phone calls. It's typical for clients to come to me and say, I'm dating someone and they tell me that they're a bad texter. I'm just crap at texting. I'm just no good at texting. Or they say, I'm just really bad with my phone. Or I hate phone calls. I can't stand being on the phone. It drives me crazy. Some people may even have a noble reason for it. I just trying to reduce my screen time. I don't like being on my phone all the time. I feel like I want to put it down. And if I'm texting all the time, then I'm constantly checking my phone. Whatever the reason, the danger is that when we think about that, we get drawn into the weeds of what should actually be a much more fundamental conversation. The fundamental conversation is not one of arguing about the medium. It's assessing your need for closeness. Closeness is about how connected you feel to a person when you're not spending time together in person. In other words, each day, do you feel like you're connected to that person's life? Do you feel like you know anything about what's going on in their day, or what they're going through, or what their moods are, what the highlights of their day are? Do they know anything about your day? And if too many days in a row, the answer is we're not connected, we know nothing about each other's day or how we're feeling, then there's a problem of closeness, not just a kind of argument to be had about communication. I think that we get dragged down these alleyways that are not all that important when we argue. But I like texting. I hate texting. But, I just wish you would text me because I really enjoy it. Now you're having a debate about texting as a concept. But what is your need for a text really? It's not your need for words on a screen. Your need for a text is your need to feel close to somebody. I don't really care where people get their closeness, as long as they get it. If someone doesn't text you, but they're amazing at calling you, that can solve that problem. If someone is great at leaving you voice memos, if they're like, I hate texting, but they leave you these beautiful voice notes and they tell you about their day and they ask you about yours, then you have closeness. You see, it's not about the medium. It's about the level of closeness. And what I want to encourage you to do is think about this way of framing up the conversation when you bring your grievances to somebody. If you're not getting your needs met, then I want you to go to somebody and have a conversation about connection and closeness, not a debate about a medium. So you can say to somebody, hey, look, I get that you don't love being on your phone, or sitting on your phone on a phone call isn't something that you're naturally drawn towards. But the truth is, I just don't feel close to you when we're not together because we're not in each other's lives. We're not talking to each other. And that for me is an issue because I don't want to just wait till the next time I see you to feel like I know anything about your day or you know anything about mine. So for me, it's just, I want to be close to the person that I'm with, and I don't feel close when we're not together. So can we work on that? Can we fix that? That opens up a dialogue about something much more important than whether someone likes texting, and they can't distract you with that conversation. And by the way I'm having the conversation is something that it's a way to have the conversation further down the line. If you're in early dating with someone, you've been on a few dates, there's attraction there, but you feel like you don't hear from the person enough, you can point that out. You can make fun of it. You are a terrible texter. And let them respond, well, I just don't really like texting. Okay, well then pick up the phone and call me. I want to hear from you. I miss your voice. You don't have to be meek about these things. You can even be a bit bold but cute at the same time and text someone and say, you need to text me more. Okay, bye. Kiss. A text like that is playfully demanding, but it also does send a message to someone. And if it ever graduates into a bigger conversation, maybe you're in person sometime and you end up talking about it, again, you don't have to get in the weeds about it. Just make it a conversation about, I like to hear from you. I want to hear from you more. And let it be that. Now, if ultimately the result of that conversation is somebody saying, I just don't like texting, I don't like phone calls, and I'm only going to be able to give this much communication when we're not together, and that really falls short of your needs, then you have an issue of compatibility. Even if you do like me, we're not compatible because
I don't feel close to the person I'm with, not nearly close enough to be happy. I don't even need to ask myself the question, are you into me? The question really becomes, am I happy? Am I happy with the way that you communicate? And if the answer is no, it doesn't matter if they're into you or not. Of course, there are always going to be moments between people where you're 20% apart, right? It could be that you're in a relationship, not just early dating. It could be you're in a relationship where you have amazing date nights and quality time together when in the evenings, but during someone's working day, they don't text you as much as you would like. But maybe when they're in work mode, they really do lose themselves in work mode. And that might be a conversation about, hey, I know that when you're at work, you kind of just get into a flow and you lose yourself and you don't want to be on your phone in that time. I get that. But even if you at lunchtime just sent me a message telling me that you love me, that would go a long way. Those are conversations about preferences, about something that would be nice to have, something that would mean a lot to you. But it's not necessarily a fundamental conversation about a lack of closeness and connection in the relationship. The conversation someone has with you about being a bad texter or being bad with their phone or not liking being on the phone is a distraction. The conversation you should be having with someone is, whatever is the case about what you do and don't like, I need to feel like I'm close to the person that I'm with. And if I don't feel that, that's a problem for me. If someone feels that kind of powerful energy from you talking about something actually meaningful and important, not texting, they're going to have to elevate their conversation too. And you'll quickly find out whether this is a person who's interested in investing more and making sure there's closeness, or whether this was someone who was just using texting as an excuse for the fact that they were never really into the relationship in the first place. One of the things I have found over the years is that the biggest barrier to us having standards and being able to communicate boldly and confidently our standards to somebody else is our deeper level confidence. When we don't feel we're worthy of great treatment, when we don't feel we're worthy of someone's attention or love or a relationship, we get meek. We don't ask for what we want. Or if we do it in a way that communicates to someone that they can keep giving us scraps because we're not going anywhere. The route to an amazing love life is having real confidence at the deepest level. And I realized this over 10 years ago, which is why I created my retreat program, because I wanted a place where I could not give people dating tips, but give people the fundamentals of self-confidence and self-worth that meant that they would never, ever have a problem asking for what they wanted again. And the irony is, when we have that energy, people start to pay attention to us differently. We're attractive on a whole new level, not just in our love lives, but when it comes to jobs and opportunities and friendships. Life suddenly starts presenting us with whole new opportunities when we have that energy. For the first time in 2.5 years, my in-person retreat that I've been running for over a decade is back. It is a 6-day process. It is happening in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and this might be your last chance to apply. So if you want to learn more, I want to invite you to find out more at mhretreat.com. I have a team of 3 amazing people, Emma, Michael, and Charlotte, who are all waiting to talk to you about the program, learn your story, and hear anything that you might have to ask. Come check it out at mhretreat.com, and I very much hope that I get to see you in Florida. I want to talk about a familiar story. You like someone. You've spent some time with them. Maybe you've been on a few dates. Maybe they were even someone you had a relationship with. But this person essentially tells you on some level that they're not ready for something more. They don't want a relationship with you. Now, if you also don't want something more, but you're enjoying spending time with them and you're just enjoying it for what it is, that's one thing. But if deep down you want something more with someone who has confirmed that they are not ready or don't want something more with you, continuing to see that person, to text that person, to make love to that person, or to give that person your attention in any way is a form of microdosing. And microdosing in this context can be lethal. There are more dangers than the obvious dangers of microdosing. The obvious danger is that this is leaving me unsatisfied, unrewarded, ultimately unfulfilled. It's not a nourishing form of investment. And every time that person leaves my life again, every time it goes cold again, I feel the sense of hangover. This is now painful. And the only way out of that hangover is to get my fix again, right? The next time they text me, I get this Pavlovian rush of dopamine that I connect to that person's name. I mean, we all know that feeling. There's a certain person that when their name comes up on our phone, we immediately get this surge, this chemical rush. And in that moment we go, oh my God, it's like you're a junkie. In that moment you go, oh my God, it feels so much better now. That is so dangerous, but that's only the obvious danger. The not so obvious danger is this, that when someone is occupying emotional and psychological focus in our life, even if they're not a physical presence in our life that's not taking up a huge amount of space in our week, if they are an emotional presence in our life, then we never get the emotional distance from that person that's necessary to meet someone new. So now, even though that person isn't with us in our day, isn't with us in our life, we can be in a coffee shop, there can be all these people around us, but we don't look up at those people. We look down at our phone, waiting for that next text, waiting for our fix. And you may be saying to yourself, yeah, but Matt, I don't know that there's anyone else out there for me. There might not be a happy ending around the corner. That might be true. You might decide to cut off this person completely and go explore and not find anything, but at least it's a question mark. That person who has told you they don't want any more with you is a period. In other words, they have hit period on this situation and said, I don't want more. Everyone else out there in the world is a question mark. Leave the period, start exploring the question marks. Don't lie to yourself about microdosing on a person being harmless to you. It is not harmless in terms of your time, your emotional energy, and your psychological well-being. It can be lethal. You don't want a drug, you want happiness. So start going for happiness.
How's it feel to be back out there doing the live events?
I feel connected in a whole different way. We just did the Matthew Hussey live session in Dublin, where we got a couple of hundred women together. We had them ask me questions about their love life, about life in general. It was so much fun. I haven't had a chance to do that in a while. Next time I say hello to you, we will be in London. Jameson, you excited about London?
We're coming for you, London.
We're coming for you, London. Mum, I'm going to see you tonight.
Oh my darling! Oh my darling!
Are we light today? I feel like we are.
We don't have 2 pages of people yet, so.
That's how I know.
I like how light is like 30 people instead of 37.
You think about how much we've grown in the last 3 years since we went out touring last. There's so much to say, and we're better at it. We're just better at it. So I feel like we have a greater capacity to help people now. But one of the huge benefits to me is the engagement that I see in myself by being in a room with our audience. It's me doing what I do best, what I'm kind of built to do over the years. And, you know, I think in the last couple of years, taken for granted what an effect it has on me not to be out there doing this. And people say this to me all the time. I have women say to me, but you don't understand, we have an amazing connection. we're great together. When we're together, there's fireworks, there's chemistry, we have such a great time. Well, that's a really dangerous thing to base investment off of. That's cool. They're giving us 9 minutes.
Oh boy.
That's like the longest segment we've had. That might, like, for a daytime talk show.
So you're saying do get rid of the wrong guy and quickly, or the wrong person.
And not just if you're not gelling, but if you see red flags. Because people see these things early on. I once heard relationships end the way they began. In other words, what makes you have to break up with someone 2 years in, you probably could have seen 2 days in if you were paying attention.
And the last one just under there. Thank you very much. Nice to see you again. Take care.
Steve, what's one thing that you want Matt to cover during the London event?
How to have difficult conversations in and out of a relationship. How to have this difficult conversations you don't want to have.
I think that's good. There's just so many people wasting time. Wasting time with the wrong people and not actually being as attractive as they could be if they were communicating their standards. Like, they feel like their standards are going to scare someone away instead of realizing that that standard is actually going to make that person want them more. Men are not great liars, but men are wonderful avoiders. They are wonderful avoiders. What do you think happens 2 months in when you assume you've been having an exclusive relationship with someone, but you never talked about it? You never talked about it because you just want to seem happy-go-lucky. I'm having fun. I'm the casual girl in the relationship. Let's just enjoy ourselves and see where this goes. What need for labels? Let's just be romantic. Let's see what happens. Aren't we having fun? This is amazing, isn't it? Is it magical for you too? Because it's magical for me. Let's keep going. And then 2 months in, what happens? You find out he's been still dating other people. And you're heartbroken. Because you're already emotionally invested to the point where him kissing somebody else sends daggers through you. And you realize he's been dating other people. And so you bring it up. And maybe he does the decent thing. Maybe he says, you know what, I should have told you. I should have at least mentioned the fact that I was dating other people because I felt that this was getting more serious. I felt that we were getting more emotionally invested, and I probably should have at least given you more of a steer to the fact that I'm not ready to be exclusive yet. I should have done that. I didn't. We never really had the conversation, but I feel like I could have been more proactive in giving you that message because I felt from you that you wanted something different. But I ignored that because it was easy. He could do that. Or he could say, we never discussed that. We never had that conversation. Look, this isn't just a men thing. I don't ever want to turn what I do into men, women, really, because the truth is, most people do what's easy in life. Most people do what's easy. A guy doesn't broach that subject because it's easier not to. It's easier not to. It's easier if you're a month into a relationship and you really like the person not to have the conversation about where it might be going. It's easier not to because it might make things awkward. It might actually give you an answer you don't want. And you're enjoying it. So you don't want to screw it up. You're even afraid that having the conversation itself will screw it up. It's always easier not to. But see, over the years, I have developed this belief. Candor, directness, honesty is a powerful force, especially when combined with charm, and especially when it's followed by a no if you don't get the answer you want. To me, what we're doing this time is literally like turning people's psychology about dating upside down. That's the difference. This isn't come out and learn a bunch of dating tips. This is, I am going to turn your psychology about this on its head, and it's going to save your life. I really believe that. But people are going to come, and the message is so important that it will save people decades of wrong decisions in their love life. Christmas and the holidays in general are a great magnifier. They're a magnifier for joy. If you're feeling a lot of joy in your life right now, if you're in an amazing relationship and you're excited about sharing the holidays with that person, or if you have incredible family around you that you've been looking forward to seeing and you're already excited about that, the holidays become a wonderful magnifier for all of those wonderful experiences. But they can also be a magnifier for pain. If there's someone in particular you're missing this Christmas, if there are people that have left your life, either through death or through breakups, then it can be an incredibly painful time, and one that reminds us of what we don't have right now. And that extends to family and friendships. If you feel particularly lonely right now in your life, the holidays are a time where you feel even more lonely, especially when you go online and it looks like everyone else is having this Hallmark Christmas, or you're watching the actual Hallmark holiday movies and you're seeing all of these quintessential, beautiful, happy ending versions of the holidays. It can be this really stark contrast with what we find ourselves experiencing today. I wanted to reach out and say, if you are having a complicated Christmas, that you are not alone. That despite what people are putting on social media about what an incredible time they're having over the holidays, the reality is that so many people are having a very complicated version of the holidays. Some people, it just feels dark and sad and scary and lonely. Other people, it feels like it's this weird mixture of things. You know, they're having a lot of joy in their lives right now with some people, but maybe there's someone really important missing. Maybe there's something going on internally that you feel, even though everyone is having a wonderful time around you, and even though you may not be voicing it to the people around you, there's something for you internally that feels broken. And if that's the case, I want to reassure you that you are in good company, that there is a wonderful club of people who are all themselves experiencing their version of a complicated Christmas. And they may not be posting it online, and it may even be the very same people who are posting the most positive things online about the day they're having. But I assure you, you're in wonderful company. This is an invitation to not feel alone, but instead feel in that company, to feel like, wow, there are so many people in life who must be experiencing their version of this right now. And if that's true, then I get to decide what kind of energy I want to represent in that club of people that are all having their version of a complicated Christmas. This isn't a message of gratitude, of saying, you know, even though you've got it hard right now, look how much you have. And it's not even a message of hope, of saying, even though this is where you are right now, think how much better it will be in the future. Some things will be better and some things will never be the same. You know, there will be some aspects of our life that may never change back to the way that we want them, or there might be someone you lost in your life that you can't get back. There may be a message of hope in that you'll feel better one day, but life to an extent is always going to be complicated. And rather than live in a place of hope for the future, one of the things we can do is lean into a radical acceptance of the way things are right now, and that life is the way it is. There is something that in my ideal world would be different. But what I get to do today is I get to decide whether I am going to be the author of magic or a seeker of magic. And seekers of magic wait for things to change. They wait for the conditions of their life to be right before they decide to bring a certain energy. Authors of magic decide to create magic wherever they are, without that family member present, without that relationship in their life anymore, or with whatever problems they're facing in their life right now. Authors of magic decide to create magic where they are. And there are so many ways to create magic. If we're completely on our own this Christmas, maybe we use it as a time to create something that brings a little joy into our own lives, or to treat ourselves a different way than we were going to treat ourselves today. Instead of beating ourselves up, we are as compassionate as possible to ourselves today. Or maybe we create magic by giving that compassion to somebody else. Maybe the pain you're in could be an invitation to connect with somebody else who's experiencing a similar pain, but doesn't have the strength you do in being able to reach out. So even though you're experiencing the same pain, you're the person who's got the courage or the strength to actually reach out and connect, to make someone's day a little better today. I want you to know that whatever kind of Christmas you're having, whatever kind of holidays you're having, you're not alone. There are people out there who are having the same experience. There are people out there who need your light and need your energy and need your magic because they're not strong enough to be able to give it to themselves or to find it in life right now. And I hope that instead of wishing for it to be a different way today, you just make a decision to say, with whatever situation I'm in right now, what's my own modest little work of art that I could create today? What's my own modest way of injecting magic into my day? I wish you a very Merry Christmas, a beautiful time over the holidays, and a Happy New Year. But this is me just reaching out and making sure that you know I see you and that we'll be all right. And we're going to start the year beautifully next year together.
Welcome to Love Life, everybody. This is Matthew Hussey. We have another caller today. I'm very excited about this. I believe we have Natasha on the line. Are you there, Natasha?
I am here. Yay.
How are you?
I'm fantastic, and I'm super excited to be speaking with you.
How do you know me?
How do I know you? Because I'm not quite your stalker on Facebook and, your YouTube videos, but I follow everything you do.
But you're close.
I'm close. We're close.
That's good. I like that. I like that.
Tight.
So, Natasha, tell me, what was your question?
My question is, if I sleep with someone too early in getting to know them, is that literally, am I screwing myself out of getting a potential relationship? Or is there a way to backtrack and other steps to rearranging that situation?
How early are we talking?
A month.
A month?
But I've known the individual for a year, more of an acquaintance level.
So you've known him for a long time?
Right.
And did you, in that month, when you say after a month, what was the difference with that month? Were you actually dating, or were you seeing each other differently?
Initiated flirting, and then we got to talking, and every time we would see each other, it was just more of that chemistry and chit-chat. And then one night we were out, and obviously a little sauced, and things led to another. So I'm trying to understand if we can potentially backtrack a little bit and make this more than just a booty call.
What's he doing right now?
I think he's asleep. He works different shifts. I mean, right now, I don't know.
Not literally this moment. I mean, what's he doing right now? Is he contacting you? Are you still seeing each other? Are you now?
Yes. We've spent some time together, and we've hung out, and I wouldn't say they're quote unquote official dates, but we're spending time together, and we talk daily. So I feel like there's the potential there.
Have you been intimate with him since, or have you not?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
you have. So
Yes.
is that like now a regular thing with the two of you?
It's happened 3 times.
3 times. Okay. And when he gets together with you, what do you typically do? Do you just go to each other's houses? Do you tend to?
Yeah, we've hung out at the houses. We go out and we might just hang out with a group of friends. It's very comfortable and casual.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm just nervous about, I don't want to be just a booty call because I really do have interest in this gentleman.
Right. Okay. So always your actions have to reflect the actions of someone who actually wants a relationship. And that's the key principle to remember is right now, do my actions reflect the actions of someone who is actually trying to be in a relationship? If, for example, a guy texted you late at night and said, I really want to see you, and you went over there, that may not be...
I think we know what that is.
Right. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with the booty call, so to speak, and it can go both ways. I don't have a problem with that scenario. But if you want a relationship, when he does that, there is a way to react that might lead you towards a relationship, and there's a way to react that might lead him to thinking you're happy just being casual. If you wanted a relationship, for example, you might say to him, you know what, I can't, it's late, it's past my bedtime, but I'm around during the day on Sunday if you want to go do something. Now, what you're really saying is, it's too late for you to be asking me, but don't worry, I'm not taking it personally, I'm fine. And you're being cute because you're saying it's past my bedtime. But at the same time, you're saying, if you want to see me on Saturday and go do something, then let's do that. So what you're doing is he's given you something to work with, but then you're replying with what you really want him to do. That way, if you did that 2 or 3 times in a row, someone starts to they begin to understand. There's a hint there that, this thing isn't really going to work for me. But we can do more. We can go out. We can have a good time. We can see each other properly if you want to. Now, if he says, is everything okay? And he starts questioning what you're doing, you can say, yeah, of course, everything's fine. I know that for me, just hooking up at the end of the night or something like that, that's easy. I could do that with anybody. I'm not really interested in that right now. You don't even have to say, I am interested in a relationship with you. Just make it clear that you're not interested in that, because the relationship part, he will take care of for you if he feels like, oh, so I can't be casual with her. So if I want to be with her, what do I have to be? He will now do the math in his head. Does that make sense? He'll realize he has to do more, but it does start with you. And if you want to turn it around, there may be nothing to turn around right now, but if you want to start leading him towards a relationship, start behaving in the way that you think you should behave with someone that you want to fully respect you, to fully invest in you, to give you everything that you want. Because right now he's not, but my guess is that you haven't shown him that in any way that's not satisfactory to you. Am I right?
Oh, you're probably pretty close to right on that one.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so
I think so.
That's what I want you to do from now on. The next time he asks you to do something casual, get together at the end of the night, just come to his place. Just say to him, you could do one of 2 things, and I'll finish with this. You could do one of 2 things. You can either suggest going out instead. Let's go do something, and I don't know if I can at the end of the night, and I have to be up early or whatever. Or you can go round to his house, but when he tries to sleep with you, which inevitably he will, when he tries to sleep with you, you just casually say to him, look, I don't know if I want to be moving as quickly as I am with you, given that, I'm not entirely sure this is going anywhere. Don't make it about, I'm not sure that you think it's going anywhere, because then you're really just putting everything in his hands. In other words, I'm yours if you want me, and if you don't want me, that's fine. You just say to him, I'm not really sure that this is going anywhere, so I don't, right now I don't know that I want to move as fast as I am. So I don't mind seeing you and having fun with you, but, if there's no meaning to this, that's easy. I can do that
Yeah.
with anyone, anytime, anywhere. That's easy. I'm not really out for that. And his respect for you will go up, so will his attraction for you. And also, if you know anything about my attraction formula, which is in my book,
Yes.
you know that perceived challenge is an important part of attraction. And when you do this, it will also up your challenge. So go do that. And I look forward to finding out how you get on.
I am excited. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. I appreciate you calling in. We'll speak to you soon, okay?
You bet. Say my name one more time.
Natasha.
I'm so delighted. Thanks. You have my number. That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye. So if you want to call in and have me say your name, which appears to be more valuable than my advice, then feel free. I am on 844-204-6288. That's 844-204-MATT, spelt with 2 T's. I'll speak to you soon on Love Life.
Matthew Hussey here from Love Life. You want to know something interesting? One of the most dangerous parts of an entire relationship is the romantic phase. Is the phase where you feel completely crazy about someone and they feel completely crazy about you. Allow me to explain. When we feel this way about someone, when we feel this crazy burst of passion, we want to see them as much as possible. There's almost no limit to the amount of time that we could spend with them and it not get old. We feel like we just want more and more and more. And so what we do is we begin to try and rush through the early stages of a relationship. We try and spend every day and night with them. We blow things off in order to see them. We even try and speed things up when it gets to the stage of what we say to each other. Do I say I love you? Do I say I like you? How much of myself should I be giving to you? How much of my life should I be changing for you? To what extent should I be ignoring my friends or my family in order to see you? To what extent should I be ignoring my work commitments to see you? We even then can rush the moving in together stages, bringing stuff to each other's houses, and so on and so on. These stages, we feel this urge to speed up because of these chemicals racing through our body, because of all the things that we it's this thing, isn't it? It's moderation. We don't want to do moderation. We want to do everything. We want to just rush through, and it's extraordinarily dangerous. The reason is because men especially will get to a point where they suddenly freak out at the amount of change that has happened in their lives. Now, don't get me wrong, the men aren't innocent, because I know they encourage these changes as well. They're just as bad as you are. We all do it. We just start to rush. But guys will often get to a point where they freak out. They freak out because their guy friends start saying to them, you're never around anymore, you don't really care, you're just off with, or they'll say things like you're whipped, and of course that has a very negative connotation for a guy. He starts getting scared. He sees a lot of stuff at his house that isn't his. He worries about that and what the next step is. In other words, a guy freaks out because he feels like there's a situation that he now cannot reverse. So here's what happens. He starts to either do what an adult does, which is communicate to you, excuse me, I'm so into you and I'm so crazy about you, but I'm also afraid that if we rush through everything, we're not going to enjoy it, and that I'm going to lose a lot of different parts of me that I enjoy right now, and I just want to make sure we go at this at a pace that's sustainable so that it doesn't suddenly crash and burn. So, can we just, a couple of times a week, I need to see my friends or I'm going to go crazy. I need to do this. I need to do that, and I'm sure you need to do the same. By the way, how many guys in your entire life have ever had a conversation like that with you? Probably none. Most guys won't do that in that very mature adult way. Most guys will simply start ignoring texts, ignoring phone calls. They'll stay out late with their friends and just not tell you what they're doing, even though they kind of said they would see you that night. They will just start breaking rules because it's their way of rebelling against the situation. That, of course, leads you to think that something is wrong. You thinking something is wrong leads you to become more neurotic or more aggressive or more angry. You take that on him. He starts freaking out even more, and we have a relationship that is already beginning to end before it has begun. So what do we do? Firstly, slow him down in the beginning. preempt this whole situation. When he tries to move things really quickly, encourage him to slow down a little. Look, I like you, you like me, but of course we don't want to burn out on each other and we don't want to rush all these phases. Let's enjoy them. You also have to still see your friends. I want you to see your friends. I want you to go and spend time with the people you care about. Encourage him to do that. One night a week, you should absolutely go out with your friends. Encourage him to do that. And if you don't feel comfortable just encouraging him to do that because you're worried that it might come off like you want him to just go away, just every once a week, once in a fortnight, arrange a girly night with your friends. Say, look, me and my friends are having a girly night that night. I can't do anything that night. That will encourage him to use that evening to go and spend time with the other parts of his life that he needs to keep. Matthew Hussey here from Love Life. You want to know something interesting? One of the most dangerous parts of an entire relationship is the romantic phase. Is the phase where you feel completely crazy about someone and they feel completely crazy about you. Allow me to explain. When we feel this way about someone, when we feel this crazy burst of passion, we want to see them as much as possible. There's almost no limit to the amount of time that we could spend with them and it not get old. We feel like we just want more and more and more. And so what we do is we begin to try and rush through the early stages of a relationship. We try and spend every day and night with them. We blow things off in order to see them. We even try and speed things up when it gets to the stage of what we say to each other. Do I say I love you? Do I say I like you? How much of myself should I be giving to you? How much of my life should I be changing for you? To what extent should I be ignoring my friends or my family in order to see you? To what extent should I be ignoring my work commitments to see you? We even then can rush the moving in together stages, bringing stuff to each other's houses, and so on and so on. These stages, we feel this urge to speed up because of these chemicals racing through our body, because of all the things that we it's this thing, isn't it? It's moderation. We don't want to do moderation. We want to do everything. We want to just rush through, and it's extraordinarily dangerous. The reason is because men especially will get to a point where they suddenly freak out at the amount of change that has happened in their lives. Now, don't get me wrong, the men aren't innocent, because I know they encourage these changes as well. They're just as bad as you are. We all do it. We just start to rush. But guys will often get to a point where they freak out. They freak out because their guy friends start saying to them, you're never around anymore, you don't really care, you're just off with, or they'll say things like you're whipped, and of course that has a very negative connotation for a guy. He starts getting scared. He sees a lot of stuff at his house that isn't his. He worries about that and what the next step is. In other words, a guy freaks out because he feels like there's a situation that he now cannot reverse. So here's what happens. He starts to... Viewers of my blog, hello and welcome today. I wanted to put out a little video in the midst of what is a very crazy week at the moment. I just finished the women's weekend over the weekend, which was crazy. So many women, so much fun. We literally, we were playing Nicki Minaj Starships, which isn't the song of the day today, but look it up, great tune. We were playing it and we had a whole room of women just rocking out to this track. Standing ovation at the end, one of the most amazing moments of my speaking career, genuinely. Felt so touching, so amazing, had such a great time. Thank you to all the women that were there. I rocked it with you, you rocked it with me, had an amazing time. I am now about to, today, fly to New York for some big meetings, which literally I booked my flight yesterday, so I'm kind of disoriented right now. I haven't packed and I got to leave in an hour, but I wanted to put a video out there for you guys before I left so that I covered that little period. This is me, I'm trying to keep to this promise. It wasn't a promise, but it was me trying to do better, and I'm trying to do that right now. So I wanted to give you something before I went. The video that I wanted to do today was about beauty. And by the way, before I do that, last week there were some people who, loads of people loved the video last week, and there were a few people who got a little angry or upset that I used the word bitch to refer to women. To which I read the comments and I looked through them and I thought, and I always look at comments seriously and say, okay, is there anything I need to take on board here constructively? And I really thought about making a video just dedicated to explaining my position about that. And then I thought, you know what? it would be a bit of a waste of time and energy, not just for me, but for everyone else, because you want to hear new stuff. You don't want to hear me doing a big apology or something to a few people who are upset by my language. To those people who were upset, I would say my intention is never to offend. My intention is to enlighten, to entertain, to try and do something different. I'm not concerned with being PC. It's never been my style, because for me, I'd rather get to the core of a message than worry about whether I'm treading on any toes or not. If you do find my style rude and obnoxious and you hate me, that's absolutely fine. You are welcome to. But I would say, don't waste your time on the blog. Right? Follow someone whose language you appreciate, who you enjoy, and then you won't get upset with me, and I won't have to deal with lots of comments of people who really don't like me and bring negativity to the blog, because I really intend this to be a positive place where people can discuss ideas and not the language that's used. And by the way, I know there are a few people out there who said, would you call your mum a bitch? Well, you know what? Me and my mum have a very fun relationship, and my mum would be over that comment in the space of about 10 seconds. Plus, you should hear some of the names she calls me. So don't worry about that. Like, it's cool. Just, for me, it's just a word. I have no attachment to it, and I certainly don't let one word own me. And, you know, when I coach guys, again, for those of you who said it was derogatory towards women, when I coach guys, you should see some of the names I call them sometimes. So it's not personal. It's just part of my style. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. I'm sure there are lots of people out there who use very nice language. On to today's video. Beauty. Beauty is one of those very interesting subjects, because there's this whole question around what it really means. And I know that there are so many people out there whose fundamental insecurity is that they're not pretty enough, they're not beautiful enough, and that goes for men and women. And I wanted to make a video today that kind of covered that topic, because it's such a sad thing. Actually, I find it one of the saddest things when people go through life not thinking they're beautiful and not thinking they're pretty, and thinking that they're somehow doomed to a life of less because of what they were born with. And could there be anything more unfair than having different treatment because of something you're born with? Now, I know there are going to be those of you out there who, when I say that's a little naive, but I want to offer you a viewpoint today, and you can either take it on or not. Beauty is, on some levels, we decide what it is based on our media and our culture, and people will want to look a certain way. They want to have a certain facial type, they want to have a certain body type, they want to have a certain nose, certain eyes, they want to have certain hair color, certain skin color, how tan they are, all of these things. And to an extent, we all work on these things because we all have an ideal that we're working towards. Many people who don't admit it are still working to that ideal, even if only in private. But beauty is to a large extent determined by our culture, by society, by the magazines we read, by the TV shows we watch. I don't need to reiterate that, you know that is said everywhere. But the point about that is that beauty evolves over time. Or in other words, what is decided is beautiful evolves over time. There were a time when, and let's talk specifically about women right now since I'm here to help you guys, women were, when they were much bigger than they are today, they carried a lot more weight. There was a time when that was sexy, when that was deemed to be beautiful. There was a time when women who had ghostly complexions and looked very pale and white were deemed to be very beautiful. Now we look at today and things have changed, and there's a certain shape for people that are deemed to be beautiful. There's a certain skin tone, maybe it's slightly tan for people who are deemed to be beautiful. But we all know that changes as well, depending on cultures, depending on people. And even in the fashion world, you see what's the people that are designed to go down the catwalk, even those change over time in quite a short space of time. So we have this idea of what beauty is, but of course we're conditioned to decide what is beautiful, which is why we decide something is beautiful that maybe other people a century ago would have decided was weird or wrong or disgusting or or abnormal or whatever. So nowadays we have to look at it and say there's one advantage to that. There's something that's actually redeeming, which is to say we can be conditioned to find different things beautiful. And that can actually happen on a micro level. So if you imagine on a macro level, it can happen when magazines or culture influences what we think of as beautiful. On a micro level, it can be determined by someone with a certain personality type or a certain energy, the way they carry themselves. And you go, wow, that person's really beautiful. That person's gorgeous. But you all know that it's not always about whether someone has the exact physique, the exact facial type. Actually, very often it's about a feel that you get from them on the whole. We all know people who look like they're out of a magazine and yet they carry no energy. They don't have the right attitude, the right outlook. They're not got a sense of humor. They're not funny. They're not intelligent. And as a result, actually, they start to become less beautiful to us. And we all know people who don't look like they would ever be in a magazine and actually become massively attractive. And I know people like that who they have this charisma and this charm and this magnetism that draws people to them, and they're not the model type. Here's the thing, and you may want to write this down. There is a big difference between objective beauty and perceived beauty. Now, objective beauty is what society finds beautiful at any one time in our lives or over time. Now, objective beauty is largely, when scientists look at it, they say it's to do with symmetry. Symmetry in your face, symmetry in your features, that's going to determine how objectively beautiful you are. But perceived beauty very often has nothing to do with that. Because perceived beauty is to do with who we are as a package. When you're in real life, you're not in a magazine, you're not on a still that's been airbrushed and someone looks at it and goes, wow, that's beautiful. It's animated, it's moving. Sometimes you get attracted to someone based on the way they move, the way they gesture, the way they use their face, the way they laugh, the way they speak. Those are things that make people look beautiful. Now, objective beauty matters for the catwalk. It matters for the magazines. It matters even for certain parts of TV and media. And by the way, even there it's subjective. You look at model agencies and think people that they pick and what they do, and even that can vary. But objective beauty matters much more on that level. In real life, when it comes to our love lives, perceived beauty is what counts, not objective beauty. And let me tell you how perceived beauty is created. Perceived beauty comes from the overall package that we have. Not just our face, not just our body, our personality, the way we talk, the way we walk, our energy, our whole demeanor, our outlook on life. That goes to create a package. And where this becomes extremely encouraging for anyone out there who's ever had an insecurity about their looks is that no one or two features go to make up how beautiful you are. As a package, with your personality, your features, and the way you move combined, that creates a unique package that cannot be replicated by anyone else. That's what makes you unique. And that's what ultimately the guy becomes attracted to. He's not after a feature, he's after a package. We all got dealt a hand at birth. And that hand, to a large extent, determines how we look today. Obviously, we can take care of our bodies better than other people. People have surgery to change things. But let's, for a moment, take the simplistic route that we are dealt the hand we're dealt when it comes to our looks, aside from the things we improve. We now have only one option. It's not to, I don't think the option is to sit there and get insecure about shit you can't change, right? That, to me, is the dumbest thing anyone can possibly do and a complete waste of life. The only smart thing to do is to say, this is the hand I was dealt, okay? Doesn't make me better or worse than anyone else, because you know what? When it comes to my looks, I did nothing to earn that. This is what I have. Now, how am I going to play this hand? How am I going to use it? And for me, I don't know about you, but for me, the sexiest, most attractive thing in the world is when I meet someone who knows how to play their hand. If I meet someone who is a master of playing their own hand, and they know how to get the best out of what they have, that's real achievement. That's really sexy. That's really attractive. So I hope you like that. You know, it's kind of another little rant on a different feel to what we did last week, but you know, I walk around and I see so many amazing people with so much to offer, but still so many people with so many insecurities, and I think that it's unnecessary, and there's so much we can do to improve what we have and to make the best of ourselves that has nothing to do with these things that we were born with, that we had no control over in the first place. On the 7th of June, remember, I have something big coming up. Put it in your diary if you haven't already. I know I said it on the last blog, but I'm going to keep hammering it home. 7th of June, put it in your diary. I have something coming out for all you people all over the world. You want to go through this whole program. You want to be with me going through the process. I'm going to give you something that's really going to change things for you forever. Question of the day today. What what part of you goes underappreciated that you never really take the time to appreciate? I want you to write it in the comments, whether it's a physical feature and you go, I love this part of me, I never even talk about it. Maybe it's even something that doesn't conform to normal beauty, but you say, you know what, I don't care. I don't care if people don't look like that in the magazines. I love this part of me. Or personality based. You know, there's this part of my personality is amazing. This part of my nature is amazing. This part of my outlook is amazing. This part of my energy is amazing. I want you to put something down that you don't take the time to appreciate normally, and today you're going to appreciate it because it's part of what makes up the package that is the wonderful you. Take care, my friends. Have an amazing day, and I will see you soon. I'm going to catch a flight to New York. So take care. I'll see you soon, guys. Bye-bye. Hello there, and no, I don't want to start like that. So, this is the mic test. This is the mic test. So we need a song of the day, don't we? Boom. Do a whole video with my glasses on. With this look impersonal. This just makes you look like a diva-ish asshole. Hi everyone, it's Matthew Hussey here. This is Love Life. Today we're talking about this strange phenomenon that's out there right now, which is young teenage girls posting videos on YouTube asking the question, am I pretty or ugly? And if you actually look these up, many of them finish with, in brackets, please be honest. Now, when I first saw this, I mean, I'm sure most people when they first see this, if they're of any reasonable age or intelligence or maturity, think this is really disturbing. And they question why this is happening. And of course, the comments on these videos vary radically. You've got the comments from people who say, you stopped valuing yourself like this is crazy, you're beautiful, you shouldn't be asking strangers' opinions on this. Other people say, hey, you're beautiful, and just end up making it something that is validating for them, so then it repeats the process because everyone thinks, well, if I'm going to get comments saying I'm beautiful, I'm going to do this more often. Other people say, oh my God, you're so ugly, and that's probably the polite end of the spectrum. It gets far worse than that. So why are people doing this? I think, firstly, there are any number of unoriginal arguments about this, about, you know, we're a beauty-obsessed culture. You can go down the route of saying how technology is just ruining the world, and our teenagers and our young ones, and how terrible that is. You can go down the route of saying kids are growing up too fast these days, and look how kids are so different from how they used to be. They used to be worried about what game they were going to play in the garden or what tree they were going to climb, and now they're worried about how beautiful they are and posting it on YouTube. There are many unoriginal arguments about this. For me, what strikes me as perhaps the most scary part of this is how we seem to be unable to educate these people on where real value comes from. And I don't mean from the point of view of saying, well, your value isn't in your looks, your value is from something else, or, you know, everyone's beautiful inside. I don't mean in that cliched way. I actually mean in a real world sense of when you grow up. I recently read an article where someone defined the difference between a child and an adult as being an adult sheds the insecurity of the child because they understand what really does bring value in life. And we seem to be failing to educate young people on how you actually bring value in life and what will end up being valued when they start to grow up. And this beauty obsession of young girls saying, am I pretty or am I ugly, shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what's going to be important later on. Because if you think about it, even in a relationship, because I know there are going to be people whose cynical sides are going to say, yeah, Matt, but when people grow up, looks are still really important. But actually, if you look at most relationships, I've never known a guy who will just be miserable with someone for the rest of his life who's really hot. I've never known it. Guys leave those people. They don't stay in those relationships. And it's also that, there's that great Alfie quote from the original Alfie where he said, whenever you see a beautiful woman, there's a guy who's sick of shagging her. And it's an interesting quote because although it sounds misogynistic, it's so true. Beauty never kept anyone around when they weren't happy outside of that. The fact is, we need to bring value in a whole host of ways, by what we know, by the knowledge we have, by the things we've learned in the world, by the value we bring to other people. What ways do we make the world a better place? What things do we create? All of those things bring value to the table. Beauty is one way that people bring a very superficial form of value, but there are so many other ways to bring value. I often think it would be interesting if we lived in a world where everyone was born looking exactly the same. You were born looking exactly the same as everyone else, but you got better looking by the more value that you added to the world. And you got uglier when you added less value to the world. That to me would be a far more interesting take, because every beautiful person you saw, you'd go, God, they're an amazing person. Look how much value they must be adding to the world. They're gorgeous. We don't live in that world. And by the way, that's really fortunate for many beautiful people, because they'd be really ugly if we relied on that. The fact is, many beautiful people need their beauty because for them in their lives, it's their biggest asset, or it's the one they use as their biggest asset. But what we have to do is get back to a place of not, firstly, it's easy to blame technology. It's easy to get angry at YouTube. It's easy to get angry at magazines or every advertiser out there who places all this emphasis on beauty. But the fact is, it really comes down to education. How much can you educate the person that you care about that their real value isn't going to come from the way they look? Their real value is going to come from what they bring to the world. I want to see YouTube videos where kids are posting speeches that they make at school. And they're saying, what did you guys like about this speech and what did you guys think was terrible? And someone says, well, you have this nervous tick you do with your hands. And that person goes, oh, I didn't realize I had that nervous tick. And they change it. I'd love to see people posting a joke online and saying, is this funny or is it not? I'd love to see people showing their value and then actually getting people to rate that, because at least then they're getting people to rate something that A, took some form of creativity or effort, and B, they can actually change. They actually have some control over. That's where real empowerment comes from, not asking strangers to comment on your face and seeing if they like it or not, which is the most absurd form of value in the world. So that's it from me today. If you like this, share it through Facebook or Twitter. This has been Love Life. I'm excited to be with you each time. And if you like this, also tweet us, #LoveLife. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, guys.
Like the neg, for example, is this backhanded compliment that creates a certain sense of insecurity in somebody that you can cure because you've caused the pain, and then you provide the solution, which is a psychological manipulation that's black magic for your gain.
Yeah.
Right? That's strategy, but it's strategy played without the ethics and without being the person. Do you want to be the person that manipulates someone into your bed?
I have several problems with the idea of the neg. Firstly, the neg starts from a place. It starts from the assumption that you're lower value. I need to knock you down so that we're on the same level. You don't need to neg someone who's of the same value as you.
Yeah.
You only have to neg in a situation where you feel like you're punching up.
Which is establishing your lower worth.
You're already tipping your hand. For smart women, for smart women, you're already tipping your hand. A smart, emotionally intelligent person knows immediately, oh man, this is an insecure man.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't want to give any time to this person. So that's my first problem, is that it already starts with this assumption that means your confidence isn't in the right place to begin with. I also think we always have to pay attention to stop paying attention blindly to what works and start paying attention to who it works on. I don't want the woman that a neg works on.
Yeah, truth.
I want a kind person who values kindness. The kindness is up there for me. You want to talk about what's my biggest thing that I want in a relationship? What's the number one priority for me? It's finding a kind individual. A kind person does not respond to or respect that behavior. Because it's not kind. It's mean.
Yeah.
It's just mean. I love playing around with people. I love teasing people. I love banter. But you won't find me saying a mean comment to someone.
Sure.
You just won't. Like I put money on that. You can spend a whole year with me. You will not find me saying mean shit. I just don't. It's not who I am, and I don't want someone in my life who's driven by that. And so I think the moment you neg someone and it works, you're in trouble. Because now
either they don't respect the kindness or they don't have the awareness. And if they don't have the awareness of their own and they're not able to track what's actually going on, then they might not even have the level of consciousness that you want
precisely
to create the relationship that's going to be virtuous for you anyway.
I want the person that recognizes the neg as a mean move and says, I want no part of this.
Yeah.
Matthew Hussey here from Love Life. I'm going to pose a question to you today. It can be a tough one. I'm going to put it crudely. If you have someone that you like that is in and out of town all the time, you know, they have that kind of lifestyle where sometimes they're around, sometimes they're not, you see them sporadically, but you like them. Do you screw them every time they're in town? Now, the reason I ask is because this is an incredibly common scenario in the day and age that we live in. It's very, very common. Someone decides to come into town and they call you up and they say, hey, I'm back in town. Why don't we catch up? And of course, they want to see you. That's why they're calling. But there's also an intimacy there where they arrive in town. They want that intimacy, and you're the person they call because you're either the most comfortable or you're the person they enjoy doing that with. But they're not really moving towards anything more with you. But you want more with them. Should you do it each time they're around? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because you may say to me, well, Matt, okay, fair enough. They're not giving me what I want long term, but who is this really hurting? If this satisfies a need for me in the short term, while I look for somebody long term, where's the harm in that? That's a very good question, and it can be a difficult point to refute. But here's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself about whether it's hurting you. There's a great book called Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. And in it, she talks about the difference between numbing and pleasure. Numbing is something we do to numb some sort of pain that we have. Pleasure is something we go for to actually get some enjoyment from something. Now, she describes pleasure as a healthy thing and numbing as a detrimental thing. And an easy example would be, you know, having a glass of wine at the end of a night with my dinner because I've had a really good day at work and I feel like relaxing with some good friends and we're all having a dinner party and drinking and having a good time. That might be pleasure. But having a glass of wine every night because when I go home, I feel so stressed, I need to find a way to release all of this tension, she would describe as a form of numbing. Now, you see where I'm going with this. When someone comes into town and you like them and you're lonely and you have this need to have this intimate part of you satiated or at least satisfied momentarily, and that need for, because it's not all about sex, there's the need for connection, the need to feel like there's someone that cares about us or who knows us. Is this moment where you say, yes, come over, yes, let's see each other, is it going for pleasure or is it a form of numbing ourselves from these emotions that are difficult to deal with, that I do feel lonely, that I don't want to be alone, that I do want to feel like I have some form of connection, even if I know I'm settling right now? Are you going for pleasure or numbing? Now, the trouble is, when you really do like someone, it can quickly stray into numbing instead of pleasure. Because it's one thing to say, oh, you know what, there's this person I kind of like, and yeah, we have sex sometimes and we have a good time, and I know I don't really want anything more with them, or I know we're not really right for each other, but we really do have some fun together right now. That might be pleasure. But if you have someone where it pains you every time you see them, because really when they leave, you're miserable that you can't have more with them, you start missing them, you feel dissatisfied, maybe even slightly used, but you still say yes because in the moment when you do get that person, it numbs all of those feelings of loneliness and lack of connection, then you might have something that you want to avoid. You may not want to do that with this person. Not only that, but of course, if you find that seeing this person on a semi-regular basis or even sporadically creates a kind of emotional tunnel vision where all you can think about is them, and it doesn't allow you the freedom to go and be with somebody else because you're so caught up with them. I know that happens to so many people. They stop seeing everyone else because they're emotionally invested in this person. Once again, this is a form of settling, and don't kid yourself that you can sleep with this person and have fun in an unattached way and then go back to your normal life and still progress with your relationship goals, even when that person is not around, because it's much more complex than that. So I'm interested in your opinions on this, because it's truly difficult, and it's very easy to give advice on this and to draw that line and say, if this is getting you too attached, you should remove yourself from the situation so that you can really do the business of going out and finding someone great. It's easy to say that, but of course, when you do like someone and they are in town and they are calling you up and saying, I'd like to see you, I miss you, that's a much harder thing to refuse in real life. So I'm interested to know your thoughts. Come join me for this discussion on Facebook. Let me know your opinions. I would love to hear them. It's facebook.com/Coach Matthew Hussey. Let me know what you think, or you can tweet me at Matthew Hussey. Thanks, guys. I'll speak to you soon.
Who needs dating advice from me when you can watch all the terrible dating advice you can get? Right here. We're in the building where I film my radio show, where I record my radio show, and Jameson films my radio show. Just literally in that room there is Ryan Seacrest recording his show, nearly as big as my show. Kim Kardashian is literally in that room. She's not in that room. She is on the TV in the lobby. We were there, weren't we, Jameson? Sat in the lobby, keeping up with the Kardashians, weren't we? Keeping up with KK. Evidently, you only need about 5 minutes of the show to keep up with the Kardashians. And the sound was off, wasn't it? But we really, at the end of 5 minutes, we felt like we got it. Recently, there's been a member of my team that has caused me a lot of disappointment by not living up to expectations. And though I don't want to expose this person outright, it's not all Jameson's fault, it has got me thinking about management techniques and how they apply to relationships. Over the years, one of the things I've learned about management is that if you're annoyed with someone in your company or someone who works for you, you can't just be annoyed at them, because if you're just annoyed at them the whole time, they won't want to do good work for you anymore. They'll just end up hating you and resenting you and feeling unloved by you. You have to love someone. Even when you're annoyed or frustrated, you still got to give them some love. I think you're incredible. I think you're great. I hired you because I think you're great. But there are things that I am so frustrated about right now because I know what you can do. I know what you are made of. And by the way, it's true, right? You're not lying about this. You're actually talking about the things that you admire in that person. Why are you a fan of that person? Think of that first. Then you talk about your frustrations. Now that person wants to do good work for you. They want to help you. They want to be on board with you, because what they realize is it's not just about, well, you're not performing for me, I don't care, because it's all about me and the results that you get for me. It's not about that. You care about their journey. You care about their growth. You care about what they're capable of, what their potential is. Many times in a relationship, we get angry with our partner, we get resentful, and we crack the whip, right? We constantly beat them over the head with what they're doing wrong right now. Now the problem is they end up resenting us, because they think, well, I can never do anything right, and you don't believe in me, and you don't think that I'm something special. I'm now just a punch bag for you, and they don't want to do well for you. The key in any relationship is for the other person to want to do good things for you, to want to be a good partner, to want to be a good friend or a good employee. That's the key. You don't want them doing it just because you're watching or just because you nagged them today. You want it to be this pattern of them wanting to do good by you. The same rule as we just talked about in management applies. If you can show that you're a fan of your partner first, and then show your frustrations, they're going to be on side with you in a completely different way. For example, you say, you know how much I love you. I care about you so much, and I think the world of you. But I'm so frustrated right now because you keep blah, 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 because our relationship keeps having this problem. And I don't want it to have that problem because I know how great we can be. And I know how amazing you are. When I see that side of you, I know how amazing you are. But I'm not getting that side of you, and I don't know how long I can go with not having that side of you. Compare that with, if you keep doing this, I'm leaving because I am sick of this crap from you. You go down that route, you don't inspire anyone to be better. Show that you're a fan first and then show your frustrations. Now, some of you are watching this and saying, well, why do I have to show I'm a fan when they're doing wrong, when they're doing something that I don't like? Well, if you're not a fan, then why are you with them? If truly you're not a fan anymore, don't hire that person anymore and don't have that person as your relationship, as your partner anymore. But if you are still in it, if you're still sharing a bed with that person, literally or metaphorically, then you've got to still love them. You've got to still be on their side and value their progress and their growth. That's what's going to get them to want to help you and want to be a better person for you. Fan first, frustration after that. That's it for today. I will see you in the next video. Jameson, anything you want to say? No, nothing? Now, I don't want to expose that person by just naming Jameson outright, but it's been difficult. A lot of problems. I don't want to talk about that person, and it's not all Jameson's fault, but like that. That's really For the first 2 months of the year, I have been touring with the Get the Guy tour. We've done about 6 or 7 cities by now. It's been amazing. In every one of the locations, someone has come up to me and asked a variation of this question. Are my standards for the men I meet too high? Instead of just answering it, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to think about very carefully your answer to each one of these. The first question: are you looking for something that actually exists? Many women I find fall into this trap. By the way, many men do too. But let's talk about women for a moment. Women fall into this trap of expecting a man that doesn't actually exist. They want Christian Grey, who is 27, who is amazing in the bedroom and has all these fetishes but makes you feel completely comfortable with them, who is sexy and good looking, who is a billionaire. Doesn't exist. I love that when she was writing that, she said, no, I won't make him a millionaire. What's more attractive than a millionaire? A billionaire who spanks people. So enjoy TV, enjoy movies, enjoy that book you're reading, not in public, and in real life, look for a real man. The second question I ask is, are these standards just a defense mechanism? What do I mean by defense mechanism? Well, a lot of women, just to remove themselves from the game, tell themselves, I'm so fussy. And that's a reason they never meet anybody. Oh, I don't want him. That thing's wrong with him. See, I know many people that will only date people that they think will never reject them. They'll date the nice guy. They'll date the guy who's safe, who's comfortable, the guy who they know is never going to walk away, because around that guy it's safe. The one that could actually harm them, reject them, the one that could make them feel small, that's the one they never go for. So within the little pool of people that they date who they think are beneath them, of course they always say that person never meets my standard. It'd be like going for jobs where you know those jobs are always jobs you're overqualified for, but in every case you go, oh God, I'm just too fussy, I can never find the right job. By the way, if this second question appeals to you, then you know that the change you need to make isn't lowering your standards. The change you need to make is allowing yourself to be vulnerable again. The third question I ask people is, are you enforcing your standards too soon? When we're dating, you don't want to be so picky at the outset that you never actually get the chance to connect with someone and get to know them. Many women will say, well, on the first date, I already know. If I know, I know he's not right for me. But the truth is, Very often, our high standards is what brings up somebody else's game. This is one of the things people forget when they say, oh, I should lower my standards. Lowering your standards will simply mean that people will start lowering their behavior around you, and you'll start to meet worse and worse guys, even within the same guys. I know that sounds confusing, but even the same people who could have been a good person around you can become negative around you or a bad person depending on how you act. So it's not about lowering your standards, but it is about giving people a chance in the beginning. Cast the net wide initially and then get narrow when it comes to who you actually embark on a real relationship with. So these are the 3 questions I want you to ask yourself. The first one, does my standard really exist in a real person? The second one, is this just a defense mechanism to stop me from being rejected? And the third one, am I enforcing my standards too soon and preventing anyone from developing a real connection with me, or even bringing their game up to meet my high standards by giving them a chance to get to know me? That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you go through to my newsletter and sign up so that you get my regular updates. It's at howtogettheguy.com/advice. We'll throw it up right now. We'll also link up under the video. If you haven't done that yet, go and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, my friends.